The kid doesn't have a chance. It's a trick. I know this God. I know how he works. The baby will be miscarried, or die during childbirth, or my wife will die during childbirth, or they'll both die during childbirth, or neither of them will die and I'll think I'm in the clear. And then, on the drive home from the hospital, we'll collide head-on with a drunk driver and they'll both die later, my wife and child. In the emergency room, just down the hall from the room where only minutes ago we stood so happy and alive and full of promise. That would be so God. The teachers from my youth are gone, the parents old and mostly estranged. The man they tell me about, though, he's still around. I can't shake him. I read Spinoza, I read Nietzsche, I read National Lampoon. Nothing helps. I live with him every day, and behold, he is still angry, still vengeful, still, eternally, pissed off. Man plans, my parents said, and God laughs. When you least expect it, my teachers warned, expect it. And I do. All day long, a never-ending horror film festival plays in my mind, my own private Grand Guignol. There isn't an hour of the day that goes by without some gruesome, horrific imaginings of death, anguish, and torment. Walking down the street, shopping for groceries, filling the truck with gas, friends die, beloveds are murdered, pets are run over by delivery trucks and killed. Up ahead, past the intersection where the road bends sharply to the right, cars slow, brake lights flashing as they disappear around the bend. An accident, I imagine, and I imagine driving by. Shithead, I will criticize the driver. Ought to know better than to speed around here. When I recognize the car, it is a black Nissan. That looks like Orly's. And then I see my wife behind the wheel, crushed, bloody, head back, tongue out. She is dead. I can bring myself to tears this way. If I'm in a particularly self-loathing mood, I may, like a Reuters photographer, place a child's toy in her blood-soaked lap, or a colorfully gift-wrapped box on the dash above the very spot where her head had bashed it in. Exterior, daytime, later. I am sitting on the guardrail, inconsolable. You're still young, says a police officer. Whole life ahead of you. She was pregnant, I whisper. Close-up on the face of the hardened police officer. He has seen it all. But this... A tear rolls down his face. The end. Our unborn baby is the newest star of my horror shows. Just 6 weeks now since conception, and already it's been deformed, deranged, diseased, miscarried, misdiagnosed, mistaken for a tumor and irradiated, sat on, bumped into, impaled during some ill-advised late-term sex, and overcooked when Orly fell asleep in a steaming bath. Are you sure about this? I'd asked her as she sank with a sigh into the tub. Seems a little hot. Get out, she had said. I dragged my finger through the steam that had formed on the shower glass. You don't have to make it easy for him, I said. Get out. When I was young, they told me that when I died and went to heaven, the angels would take me into a vast museum full of paintings I had never before seen, paintings that would have been created by all the artistic sperms I had wasted in my life. Then the angels would take me into a huge library full of books I had never read, books that would have been written by all the prolific sperms I had wasted in my life. Then the angels would take me to a huge house of worship, filled with hundreds of thousands of Jews, praying and studying, Jews that would have been born if I hadn't killed them, wasted them, mopped them up with a dirty sock during the hideous failure of my despicable life. There are roughly 50 million sperms in every ejaculate. That's about 9 holocausts in every wank. I was just hitting puberty when they told me this, or puberty was just hitting me, and I was committing genocide, on average, 3 or 4 times a day. They told me that when I died and went to heaven, I would be boiled alive in giant vats filled with all the semen I had wasted during my life. They told me that when I died and went to heaven, all the souls of every sperm I wasted during my life would chase me for eternity through the firmament. You don't have to be ordained to play this game. Go on, try it. All you need is terror, bloodlust, and a sense of gruesome, violent irony. Here's mine. I worry that God puts all the healthy, perfect, talented sperm in the early ejaculates of a man's life, the man's someday reward for the control he has had over his revolting animus, and that, as the years pass and he ejaculates again and again, and again and again and again, sperm quality plummets. By the time he is me, all that's left are the rejects, the cross-eyed, the buck-toothed, the overbitten.